heroes acting out there on a silver screen. Come grab a seat, popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Hello and welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here, joined by my good buddy, Mr. Adam Long. And we have Adam on pretty much once a month to talk about home delivery. But I wanted to bring Adam on for this show because Adam is also I call him a film historian. He loves trivia. He is a walking film encyclopedia in a lot of different ways. And so recently we lost a legend in the film industry. And I say film, I'll go and say entertainment industry. Donald Sutherland left us at 88 years old. And Sutherland, to me, Adam, known for such a distinctive voice. He had a very engaging physical presence and these striking eyes. And when I think about his career, over 6 decades, a lot of awards and accolades throughout his career, including a Primetime Emmy Award, Golden Globe Awards, and also a BAFTA Award nomination. And Donald Sutherland also spawned Kiefer. And when you think about both of those guys, the voices are just, you hear them and you're like, oh, I know who that is, Donald Sutherland. Oh, that's Kiefer. And so he definitely passed along that distinctive voice to his son, for sure. So, Adam, glad to have you here talking Donald Sutherland.
Well, I appreciate you having me on to talk about this great actor that we've lost. It was a real, the cycle of life is such that, these people are getting older. And so, it's that lessens the shock a little bit, but he was a month away from being 89, which is he was so close. He was just very close to being 89 as opposed to 88, and but still, it's sad. Last year Alan Arkin, I think, was one in that age group that we lost. It was a legendary. These people. It's going to continue to happen, unfortunately, and it's just. And Donald Sutherland's one of those actors for me that has been there as long as I had cognizant memories of popular American culture. I mean, I can't imagine, I can't remember a time when he wasn't in my knowledge base, and I can't imagine a time in the future when he won't be around. And that's the hard thing, hard pill to swallow. And
There are so many talents now, directors and acting talents that are into their 80s. And they're still performing, and they're still doing quality work, which is really phenomenal when you think about when you make it that long. You say, "Oh, I'm just going to ride off into the sunset, hang out, and just all the films and things that I've done in the past. I'll let that money kind of roll in." But we're seeing talents just continue into their 80s, which is phenomenal. So we thought we would just give you some films today that we remember, performances we remember, and things that stand out about this legend, Donald Sutherland. And I'll let you start off, Adam. You give us one of your films, then I'll dive in with one of mine.
Well, yeah, I'm going to start off with one of the ones that actually was problematic for him in his life. And it's a Day of the Locust. Now, this is a handmade cover. I get these check discs, so I don't actually get the official release copies when I get so I have to make my own. So I made my own cover for this one. You can see Day of the Locust. I used the old VHS box art and made my own. But anyway, Day of the Locust is I think it's a spectacular performance that he does in this film. But Pauline Kael hated his performance and basically bashed him. And he said after Day of the Locust came out and he read that Pauline Kael review, he was done reading reviews and he didn't do that anymore. Trivia about this film is that the character he plays in this film is named Homer Simpson. And yes, that is the inspiration for Homer Simpson for the television series The Simpsons, the character that Donald Sutherland plays in this film. It's basically based on a legendary Nathaniel West novel about 1930s Hollywood. And it has an all-star cast: Burgess Meredith, Karen Black, William Atherton, who, of course, played in Ghostbusters and Die Hard and many other things. He's also in it. And just Geraldine Page is in this. It's just so many familiar faces that you see in this film. Billy Barty, the little person, Billy Barty.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this, but it takes place in 30s Hollywood, and it's not the glam side of Hollywood. It's the side of Hollywood where the people who are struggling to get into the business and struggling to, uh, and all these different characters, they interact with each other, and it all comes together in this jaw-droppingly shocking finale. That the first time I saw it, I could not believe where this film was going, and it definitely involves Donald Sutherland. He is a key player in the last 30 minutes of this film, but the film has a kind of a languid pace, I guess you would say. But when it gets to that final 30 minutes, it is a jaw dropper, and that's all I'm going to say. You won't see it coming, and it's a stupendous feat of direction by John Schlesinger, who 6 years earlier had directed the Oscar-winning Midnight Cowboy, and he also, the same screenwriter Waldo Salt, adapted this film, so they collaborated again on this film. It did not do well, came out in the summer of 75, but in the years since, it has gained in stature. But Donald Sutherland is amazing as Homer Simpson. If I never thought I would say that, but it's true. So Day of the Locust is a lesser known film in the work of Donald Sutherland, but please, if you haven't seen it, seek it out. It is well worth your time. So there you go.
And what is the year of the release date?
Oh, 1975, summer of 75, it came out, and it's a Paramount release. Arrow Video has recently put it up on Blu-ray, and it's a really, really good transfer. Conrad Hall is the cinematographer, the same guy who did Cool Hand Luke and what's the last film Tom Hanks did with? The last film Paul Newman did, but Tom Hanks was in it. I can't think of the name.
Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition. That's it. Yeah, Conrad Hall did the cinematography. So anyway, great, well shot. Just I don't want to say too much about it, but just it's a jaw dropper.
Day of the Locust from 1975. Well, I'm going to back up half a decade and go to a legendary film from 1970, MASH, Robert Altman's Oscar winner. Sutherland played Hawkeye Pierce, who was later recreated on the multi-Emmy award-winning TV series of the same name. Alan Alda brought that character to life on the small screen from 1972 to 1983. And I got to tell you, Adam, I don't know that the series would have happened had this film not have been successful. And I think back and look at MASH, the movie, just phenomenal. And again, you talk about a cast of characters who came out of this, and what talent. I mean, you got Sutherland, but also Tom Skerritt, Elliot Gould, Sally Kellerman, Robert Duvall, Gary Berghoff, who actually ended up being on the TV series as well. And this is a dark war comedy. And if you want to go back, and the TV series too was spectacular. And I think that's one of the times that you can say a movie spawning a TV series actually really did work out well. And MASH from 1970, and Sutherland played Hawkeye.
Very good. That's that is a good one. I mean, and if it wasn't for the wonderful folks at Disney who were sitting on the 20th Century Fox catalog and refused to do anything with it, we might have a 4K release of MASH at some point, but I'm not holding out much hope. But anyway, such as life.
That's it. So what else have you got on your list?
We'll move to a film that he did the following year. How about that? We have Clute with Jane Fonda as well. They actually had, I think they started an affair. They had in their personal lives that went on for about 3 years during the making of this film. This is the first of Alan Pakula's conspiracy trilogy or paranoia trilogy, or people label it different things. It's he did a trio of films. Parallax View was the next one. All the President's Men. All three of these were Alan Pakula films that deal with conspiracies and paranoia and that type of thing. And basically, he's a detective, and Jane Fonda is a call girl who knows a little too much about a murder that took place. Don't want to say too much about it. But and then they develop a romantic relationship through the course of the film. Just very, very excellent performances by both of them, and it's a very adult film, and it's the kind of film that we see lesser and lesser of on the big screen now. You look back on it 53 years later, and it's like, man, I can't believe that people were lining up to see these types of films that were based on movies about big people and big people problems, as it were. So, but
Yes, yes.
Clute is wonderfully shot by the cinematographer Gordon Willis, who also did Godfather, of course, Annie Hall, and so yeah, there's Michael Chapman was the camera operator on this too, who also went on to collaborate with Martin Scorsese. So yeah, this is a very good film and a good performance by Donald Sutherland. And if you haven't seen it, Criterion did the honors of releasing it, and it's it's out there, I think, on DVD by Warner Home Video, but the Blu-ray is Criterion. So there you go.
All right, Flute, and the year 1971. Is that what you said? Awesome. Well, I want to get one more in before we take a break, and we'll come back and cover some more as well. In the next film, I want to talk about Adam. This was a supporting role, so he didn't star, but his role was pretty significant and memorable in the 1978 film Animal House. And Donald Sutherland played Professor Dave Jennings, a college professor who doesn't really have problems having affairs with students, smoking pot, and writing crappy novels. That's pretty much his character, and his character was significant in a few scenes for sure. Animal House from 1978, just a film I always love going back to for a lot of different reasons. And you talk about the people who show up in this film as well. John Landis directed this, written by Harold Ramis, and you've got Belushi, the legendary John Belushi in this, Tim Matheson, and Donald Sutherland as well. So any thoughts you want to share on that particular character or the film Animal House?
Yeah, my favorite quote in the film, I'd have to censor myself probably, but it's there's something about I've been writing my novel, and they said it must be great. He goes, it's a piece of, well, I'll leave that to your imagination.
Yes, yeah. So that's why I inserted a crappy novel, because you can look up that quote for sure.
I love it. Yeah, but yeah, that's one of my favorite exchanges of dialogue in the film. It's great. Yeah, he's good. It's a small part. I think he was friendly with John Landis. I think that's what happened, because he also appeared in the previous year's The Kentucky Fried Movie, which is another John Landis film, and he's the clumsy waiter in a disaster movie parody called That's Armageddon. So
yes, absolutely. Well, we are talking about Donald Sutherland, the legendary who passed away this summer at the age of 88. We're talking about some of his memorable performances that stick with us throughout time. Adam Long joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies, and we're going to take a quick intermission. We're going to come back and talk more about Donald Sutherland right here on Meet Me at the Movies.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hi, I'm Steve Putnam, and I'd like to invite you to join me for the next Talk of the Town. Each week I get to meet with some of the most interesting people in Cleveland County, and each show is packed with information you need to know to stay connected to our community. From promoting upcoming events to discussing local subjects that impact you, Talk of the Town has a little something for everyone. Plus, we're on every day, so it's easy to catch up with us. That's Talk of the Town, every day, every week, right here on C19 TV, Cleveland County's channel.
Education is our most powerful tool to improve and change our world. Hi, I'm Rhonda Benfield, your host for School Matters. Join me for a new program every other week with information from and about the students and staff of Cleveland County Schools. Discover what our schools are doing to challenge students and help them reach their full potential. You can catch us on Spectrum Cable Channel 19 or stream us live on c19.tv.
Hi, I'm Nikki Bliss Carroll, your host for Cleveland Connections, the show that explores what's happening at Cleveland Community College. Join us as we sit down with members of faculty and staff to discuss programs of study, upcoming events, and other exciting campus news. We'll have a new show for you each month on C19 TV, or you can stream us online at c19.tv. Tune in and connect with Cleveland Community College on Cleveland Connections.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hello, welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. Snow Team Manning the second here, hanging out with Mr. Adam Long. I was going to say Thomas Manning. Thomas isn't here. It's Adam. Adam Long joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies, and we are talking Donald Sutherland. Before the break, we talked about a few performances that stick with us. Day of the Locust, Adam mentioned that, and Homer Simpson. Yep, Homer Simpson. That was the name of his character, MASH. Sutherland played Hawkeye Pierce and Clute. And also Animal House. He was Professor Dave Jennings and was not a very good writer, pretty crappy writer, as he quoted. And we are talking Sutherland films right here on Meet Me at the Movies. And Adam, I'll let you dive back in as we start the show, man. Start this half of the show.
Well, this is another film where he's a supporting player, but albeit a terrific, a very pivotal scene in the film. And that would be Oliver Stone's JFK, where he plays his character's name in the film is Mr. X, but it's actually, I think the real character's name was Fletcher Prouty, I believe, if I did my research correctly. And it's actually, there are some other people that it was kind of a composite of Fletcher Prouty and several other people. But basically, Kevin Costner meets this character in Washington, and he tells him all of these things, illuminates him on all these coincidences and what have you about the Kennedy assassination. And it's I think it's a 17-minute scene, but just amazing how riveting it is. And they're basically just sitting on a park bench. And of course, it's Oliver Stone at the height of his powers with his great editing team and his cinematographer, Robert Richardson, who shot those films for about a 10-year stretch there. So it's just it's intercut with these flashbacks, and it's just so well done, so gripping. But the scene where he meets with Kevin Costner's character in the film is just it's unforgettable. The first time I saw it, I was riveted, and I still am every time I watch it. So yeah.
Yeah, you and I both just love JFK on so many levels. And you look at the amount of cast members that are in this film. It really is an ensemble film, but every performance is so solid. And so much about this film. I mean, we've gone on and on and on about this film in previous shows. We've never done just one complete show on that, but I know we could.
Oh, we could, yeah.
But I am with you. Donald Sutherland was definitely continued to be at his best, and he shows up. When Sutherland shows up, he shows up. And
That's right. Yeah.
I just have continued over the years to be impressed at not just his body of work, but what he does when he shows up. And so this is one of those roles for sure that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, I'm going to go back to 1978 again. Mentioned Animal House back before the break, and I'm going to talk about Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There was a novel, and this was based on also a 1956 film of the same name. The novel was mid-50s called The Body Snatchers, and there have been several adaptations and remakes of this throughout the years. But in '78 was the first one that I saw. And aliens were definitely among us in some different ways. Sutherland was front and center in this film, trench coat and all. Also, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum were in this, along with Brooke Adams. Philip Kaufman was the director for this. And I just remember the creepiness of this film. And it was released over Christmas weekend, not typically a Christmas kind of film. But I remember watching this when it hit theaters, and I was just really intrigued by it. And, I had knowledge of that previous version, but had not seen it until I saw this. And then I went back and definitely found a way to rewatch. And it seems like every iteration of this that's come out, I've watched because I just like to compare them now. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1978, and Donald Sutherland was front and center for sure in this film.
Yeah, I was going to mention that one. So yeah, we're both simpatico on that one. Yeah, just an amazing performance. The final scene in the film where it's, well, I don't know if we want to spoil it. It's 36
Yes.
years at this point.
It's a long, long time ago.
Yeah, but basically, turn off your, turn down the volume, do whatever you got to do if you don't want to hear the spoiler. But anyway, Donald Sutherland, it's revealed that he has been invaded by the body snatchers at the end of the film. And there's a scene where the final scene of the film is just him
Yes.
pointing with his mouth open, and the camera goes into his mouth and the film goes to black, and there's no music over the credits. It's just perfect ending, just chilling to the bone. This is one of those few films that it's a remake of an earlier film, but it's better than the original film. The original film is good. It's a classic. But the original film was a riff on paranoia of the paranoia of the communist era and the witch hunts and all of that. And basically what they did was they retrofitted this film to the new age kind of psychobabble era of the late 70s, where there were a lot of cults going around. And there was a lot of that new age kind of stuff, and so they that's kind of what it's been transported into, that sort of milieu, I guess is the word. And so but it's Kino did a terrific job, by the way, on this Blu-ray, and it's also available in 4K. And there's a lot of commentaries and behind the scenes stuff, so if you are interested in getting the full story, you can get that one. I meant to say that Shout is the studio behind the 4K release of JFK earlier, so I missed that. So
yeah, and you're right. That ending scene was just so chilling because it was such a non-Hollywood ending, and for a horror film like that at that time, where humanity's lost, pretty courageous for sure.
Yeah, and the score by Danny Zeitlin. That I was going to mention that too. That's one thing that makes the film so effective. Is the Danny Zeitlin score is just creepy. But anyway,
yes. All right, man. Well, tell me what else you want to make sure you cover from Donald Sutherland right here on Meet Me at the Movies.
Well, this is probably the film that one of the films he'll be most remembered for, and so I was saving, I guess it were the best for last, and that would be Ordinary People. This is a Blu-ray from Paramount from a couple of years back. This is a film with, I think it was Timothy Hutton made his acting debut as the son of Mary Tyler Moore and Robert Redford, and his brother was killed in a tragic drowning. And the mother, Mary Tyler Moore, she's just going on with life, basically putting her feelings, compartmentalizing her feelings and not dealing with the tragedy at hand. The surviving son, doesn't know how to process all of this. And the father is played by Donald Sutherland, and he's trying to work his way through it as well, with little to no help from his wife. Now, a lot of people have talked about the fact that Donald Sutherland never won an Oscar, and that is a real travesty. And a lot of people have said that, he should have won for this film. And because it's been known that he was kind of prickly in real life, sometimes difficult. I've heard stories. He could be, he could be a gracious kind of guy. I've heard some people say that he was willing to give his time to interviews, but he could be prickly at times. And so the fact that he plays such a human character who seems full of compassion and heart, that's a stretch if you're a prickly person in real life and you're full of this compassion and warmth. Whereas I've heard from people who knew Mary Tyler Moore that the character she plays in this film is pretty close to who she was in real life. She wasn't really Mary Richards we knew on Mary Tyler Moore. She's very
or Dick Van Dyke.
Right, exactly. She's closer to this character from people that I've that would know that it had worked with her. So I don't know, but I would say, she was the one who got the nomination. But I don't think she was doing as much acting as he was, is the point I'm getting. So that's what I was getting at. So anyway, but great film, terrific film. Robert Redford made his directing debut with this film. We don't want to forget that. If you haven't seen Ordinary People, and the winner for Best Picture of the year, 1980, and there was a tough competition that year with Coal Miner's Daughter, The Elephant Man, quite a few heavy hitters that it was up against, and Raging Bull. It beat them all.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Well, I'm going to drop in two more right before we wrap. Once the 2010s hit, this guy just kept on going. We talked about 6 decades of work in the entertainment industry. In 2012, the Hunger Games franchise was launched. It was shot in North Carolina here in Shelby, and then up in the Morganton area as well for that first film. And Sutherland played the evil President Snow, and this was a very successful book series, but a successful film franchise as well. The films went from 2012 to 2015, and then they just launched a prequel series back in 23. So it's still going strong. And President Snow was just pure evil, and Sutherland played it in such a way that you didn't realize. If you're just watching, you're like, oh, this guy really isn't that bad. But then you realize, oh, he's a politician, a very manipulative politician. And so the Hunger Games, many of this generation, of the younger generation, that's where they know this guy. That's where they know Donald Sutherland. And he also did a TV series called Trust, where he played J. Paul Getty in 2018. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned those two as well. So Sutherland just continued to work and continued to find roles that worked and suited him, and he was able to rise to the occasion for sure. Well, we've got just a minute left. Adam, any final thoughts you want to make sure you share before we wrap today?
Well, some other trivia, just basically, I'll say this really quickly. He was such a consummate professional and loved his work so much that he named his children after the film directors that he worked with. Or the majority of them. And Kiefer has a twin sister as well. Now, I can't remember the sister's name, but I think she's named after somebody as well that was in. And Kiefer was too. I can't remember the director's name, but he's actually named after a film person. So there you go.
Good deal.
We'll miss you, Donald Sutherland.
Well, that's right. That's right. Well, Adam, thanks for joining us. And for those that want to go back and take a look at this body of work, check it out, man. It's 6 decades worth of work, well worth exploring for sure. Well, for Me Be the Movies, I do appreciate you joining us, however you choose to do that, and thanks to Adam Long as well. We'll have Adam back on another show in the not too distant future. We're going to talk home delivery, and so there's a lot of stuff that's out there that we're going to chat about that you can now own physical copies of. And Adam, thanks, man. And Focus Newspapers, and also, what is that YouTube channel?
Adam's Corner. Yeah, Adam's Corner. You can find me there. And there's Adam's Corner podcast, which every week we put up a new episode every Saturday night at midnight. There's a new one. So you can do that. It's on Apple and Spotify and all those places where you find your podcast. So
awesome. Adam Long, thanks for joining us. And for the entire cast and crew right here for Meet Me in the Movies, I'm Noel T. Manning II, and for this week, that's a wrap.
Many films to view until we meet again. Next time we see you, we'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.
Hi, I'm Shara Miller, the host of Artworks. Each month we bring to you wonderful, talented artists from here in Cleveland County and the region. We have artists, we have potters, we have painters, we have musicians, we have actors. We just have wonderful artists that come to you and tell you about all that they're doing, their creativity, what inspires them. Join me here on Artworks each month on C19. You can also watch us online at c19.tv.